renting of his house. So on behalf of the Department of Veterans Affairs, this is the Presidential Memorial Certificate, and I'll be a little inspector of something.
Did Uncle Claude have perfect timing or what? I mean, it's Veterans Day was yesterday. This is Veterans Day week. And you know, with all the delays and stuff, the Lord and He worked it just perfectly where He ends up on Veterans Day being here. He'd be so happy that this was the way it worked out, that we're here now. We're glad you're all here. And I think one of the big things is we're all going to be missing things. I thought about that last night, and I think that's what today is about, is what we'll miss. Uncle Weldon, we talked the other day about how you're the last member of your original core family. It's one of the things I dread with regard to my family. Things we'll miss is some of us, just like Jason, it's his dad. I mean, basically, I know it happened with my mom and dad. You're basically an orphan now, so to speak, because you don't have your mom and dad anymore. I'm going to miss some of the things like his resilience, all the stuff that he went through after the big fall he had last year. Linda and I frankly wondered if he would make it through the hospital stay, and by gosh he did. We wondered if he was going to make it through the nursing home rehab. He did. And even when he got to the VA medical foster home, he stabilized, really surprised us that he lasted as long as he did. Funny things I'll miss, when he was at his house, eating his one little chocolate donut, smoking a cigarette, drinking coffee every morning, breakfast of champions, right? But I'll miss those things about him. I'll miss, like, one day we were talking to the doctor on the phone about his blood pressure being up. And I couldn't help, I didn't bother him. I said, do you think he needs to smoke a little more? Would that help? And he even laughed a little bit, and the nurse laughed about that too. I'll miss having the pile of frozen Meals on Wheels stacked up in his freezer. The Meals on Wheels people he loved, he called Meals on Wheels slop on wheels. So it was kind of one of those funny things about him. And we'll miss all the chocolate milk in the fridge. I know when we cleaned it out, a lot of it was all clabbered up and stuff like that. I'll miss taking him to the doctor. When we come back over to the VA medical foster home, Uncle Claude didn't drink or anything like that. And so when we got back to the medical foster home, I would always tell his buddy there, Raymond, I'd say, we've been out, we weren't at the doctor. We were out drinking margaritas and picking up women. And he'd go, no, we weren't. Protest real loud, no, we weren't. Making sure he was protecting his, humility or whatever. What we don't like about being here today is the sudden vacuum that's created by this. Even with all of the stuff of going to doctors and taking meals and doing stuff like that, all of a sudden there's a big shock that leaves a big vacuum in our lives when this comes along. And I don't like it. And I think today, too, what we do, and it's what happens to me when I go to a funeral, especially somebody I love like Claude, is that we realize we're primarily grieving his loss, but we also grieve our own mortality. because we realize we've been moved a little bit closer to the top of the ladder. Which amazingly, as much as we try to hold on to life, at least at this point, is Claude, like we talked about the other day, like the pastor talked about at the funeral, had moved to the next level where he was ready to go. 2 months ago asked me, when am I going to get to go to heaven? Was Claude perfect? No. Anybody here perfect? No, none of us. And so Claude, though, trusted in God's promise that he would be, and is now, in a realm where there are no more tears, no more pain, no more suffering, and no more death. And when I asked him, or when he asked me about when he was going to get to go to heaven, I asked him what he was going to look forward to about going to heaven. And he named off Margie and Jack Dale and Mary Frances, my mom, and just the whole gang, and his mom and dad that he was looking forward to being with him. So I would say, if you ever watched a few years ago that TV show, Extreme Home Makeover, I think the really last words to say today are what they always said at the end of that show. Well, I guess there's just one thing left to say. Welcome home, Claude College. Welcome home. I'm going to pray, and in a minute when I finish praying, Linda's got some red, white, and blue flowers here. If you'll grab one or two of those, and we'll put those on the casket as we wrap up. And we'll, as we do that, we'll play one of Claude's favorites as an Air Force veteran. We'll play Wild Blue Yonder. Lord, thank you for letting us be here today. Thank you for Claude's life. Thank you for the inspiration of his life to us and how he made us feel needed, even especially toward the end of his life. Thank you for the privilege of being able to do things for him and for caring for him. And we especially appreciate you caring for him. We appreciate his courage in having confidence in you and not fearing death, but being anxious for it to come on so he could go to be with you and all his loved ones. And so we pray today, though, for us that you would comfort us in our grief and continue to assure us that he's in your care. And we thank you for all the people here today, from people with the National Cemetery to the Patriot Guard riders to relatives who are here today. And we pray you would just bless all of us, and thank you again for the privilege of having had Claude in our lives. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.